updated version.
Call the meeting to order. First up, pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First up is approval of the minutes.
I make the motion, we approve the minutes from May 4th, 2026.
I second them. Motion been made and second. We approve the minutes of May 4th, 2026. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same. Carries 2-0.
Larry's on too.
You weren't here at the last meeting, so.
Oh, he wasn't here either.
Yeah.
Never mind.
I can't vote.
I forgot.
Yeah. No problem, Stacy.
He wrote them, but he didn't, he wasn't here. I got it.
Next up is presentation by Arbor Homes.
Everybody. All right. Play your presentation up. Give me
One second.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jacob Kramer. I am an engineer for Arbor Homes. As we get started here, just wanted to let you guys know we're very thankful for your ears today, and just want to make sure that we present to you what we've been working on for the last several months with the township. We have quite a few acres here back behind the township grounds that we would like to develop into a neighborhood. And in doing so, we kind of had to do it in different ways. We needed a second access. That's the main thing that we're asking from you guys today. And in doing so, we hope to help some of the future needs of the township's park, which has been planned, I guess, for a little while now. I think that we have our presentation up here. So now this is just a overview here, the location. Obviously, we have the township here in the orange, the Arbor Homes property in this to the south in green, and then Mercy Road will also be involved in this, and hopefully helping provide detention for us all. And in exchange, we will be giving them some, I guess, free excavation for some soccer fields that they would like, and then also getting them permitted for any expansions that they would like to do in the future, stormwater wise. I'm going to go to the next slide. This is the proposal right now. We have a single lane, one each way, drive going through the property down to the south to meet up with our connection. This is going to have a trail on the west side of it right now. We can obviously negotiate whether that needs to go on the west or the east side, but we're proposing this to go up to the trail here on the frontage of the township property. Who extends it all the way through, we'll have to discuss how that works, but we just know that that's going to be something that Fortville will want, so we went ahead and showed it. The part there in green is obviously going to be designed and then developed by township, and we're hoping that it is sufficient for, I guess, what we are also asking, this connectivity with the green space in our own lot. So if you could go to the next slide, we have the general layout as proposed currently. We need to talk to Fortville about this layout and make sure that everything's good. But you can see that there's lots of CA sprinkled across this plan. That is open space, that's common area. That's what we plan on connecting your park to. and hopefully allowing our purchasees to use the common green space. So again,
How big is that area?
how big is the area?
Is your common area?
Is the common area?
Yeah, how big is it?
I don't know if we had a number for that.
I think we have a
We
total.
we don't have a total number right now. But we can get one to you guys.
So just
Are
as a little
these-
bit of background, Arbor contacted us while Flory was gone. So we've had a couple of conversations with Arbor Homes about this project. In the conversations about the project, there are some advantages in terms of the township was going to expend, the township and the fire department was going to expend probably somewhere nearly $500,000 on drainage. This would alleviate a lot of that because we would be looking at connecting to the drainage that Arbor Homes is proposing to go probably on the Mercy Road property. So this would, what it would make us capable of doing is probably getting our gardens well underway, building the training facility that we had planned to build. It simply is, because a lot of what we were spending the money on was not only just the drainage itself, but expanding the current detention area into a wet pond, which would have taken up a lot more footprint of the 6 acres that's behind here. So the way it's drawn out by Mater Design on this second plan, as you can see, this is kind of, if you hold it vertically like this, here's the township building. We're talking about putting the training building behind the station now versus on this side of the property. So we've kind of done a complete flip-flop. What it actually has done is it's enhanced the ability to grow the garden area and make more usable space out of it. It's also, proposed for trail connectivity from our current property to Arbor Homes property and all the way out to Broadway to 67 to meet the trail. Hopefully that will continue. That STS already had to put their portion of the sidewalk in. So hopefully that would, and then I think the conversation would be with the town of Fortville is how do we get trail connectivity across 67? So we've kind of gone a couple of rounds on this already. My initial feedback to them was, I didn't really love the road. The good thing is, I think really from a perspective of who will travel through it, it should primarily be the residents who live in the back portion of the subdivision because there is going to be access, from County Road 300 west. So it should not drive a lot of traffic. And we've talked about the possibility of putting up some sort of traffic mechanism by the station so that we could block traffic for egress for emergency vehicles. So.
And this also gives the fire department second access to public streets, and that'll help if there's, for any reason, a wreck here out the light or anything else, they'll have a second way out. The only other possibility that is still up here at this point, we haven't gone to Mercy Road Church with this layout yet. They have spoken to us about the desire to have a connection, a second connection to the street frontage, if at all possible, in the future. So there could be a scenario where we move the drive over to align with the street that's going north-south. You can see that on our layout. However, that doesn't involve them essentially giving up some of their property to right away for the street as well. So that is something that will be negotiated here soon, but we anticipate this being the path forward for now.
So maybe question for anybody that has history on this, was Vitality Road originally intended to be extended to the south property line or Vitality Drive?
So we own, Vernon Township owns Vitality Drive on our side of it. And Mercy Road and the developer of the community plaza own the other side of Vitality. So I think some questions, Larry, I assume you're moving towards who would maintain this and be responsible for it going forward?
Yeah, and it's not a public road now, right? If we both own to the center line,
Yes.
it's not in right of way. So that would have to be like a dedication of land
Jeff
to
said he
even make
can
it
double check.
a public road.
Larry, I can pull the plats.
Yeah, I guess as far as the responsibility of building the road, we've talked about it. I think we were gonna cover the cost on that as long as you guys dedicate the right of way.
So are all the squares on the Arbor Homes plan, are those all single family homes?
Yes, they are.
What's like the average lot size? Is that like a quarter acre?
I think we are
It's like
9,000 square
9,000
feet.
square feet.
That's the minimum. I think we are averaging just about 10,000. So it's supposed to be over 9,000 for sure.
Okay.
How many homes is there?
So 156, I think, right now proposed.
Yeah.
So you're saying that you would build the road? Who owns the road going forward and maintains the road going?
That would probably be the town of Fortville and or I guess the county, whichever one is responsible for public right of way roads in this area.
Okay, so it'd be the town.
Yeah, so is your platted parcel part of Fortville right now? Or is that part of the process of getting this platted?
It's already
It's already,
annexed and
it's
already-
already
it's in the
annexed.
town, yeah.
Okay.
I will say the other thing about Vitality Drive is currently we're responsible for plowing it. So if it were the responsibility of the town, we would not have to plow it anymore. I mean, obviously, we currently only plow it up to the end, and to be able to get access for our parking and our building both, but that would now become part of the town's responsibility. So it would take some amount of plowing off of the fire department and the township.
I do like the fact that we've been working on the trail connection for some time, and I do like the fact that it brings the trail right to the park. And in the discussions that we had with the town, Stacy, how long ago was that? 4 years ago, 5 years ago?
A while.
There was discussion of how this area would ultimately be a pocket park for the surrounding community. And hopefully the trails then would connect all the way out to the school, and it seems like this would help with that vision.
It would certainly extend the trail, yes.
Please do.
I have several.
Please do.
You're not looking for any signage on 36? Like out on this frontage?
I mean, if there's anything, it'll be temporary for the sales of the lots. No, I think the most of the people will be coming off of the county road.
So my understanding is that part of this property has always been contemplated for training area. We flipped it, parks moving and training areas going the other side. I might be repeating myself for the millionth time, but 26 years ago when I was thin and fast, I was a municipal planner. So I look at things this way. This training area, particularly with the department itself, might make some noise, might be a little rough and ready.
It's just a building. That's all it is.
So there won't be any exterior stuff.
The only
done.
thing it'll be was there's a planned extrication pad. So the plan for that building is actually like a pole barn structure with the ability to have an EMS training scenario inside and fire training on the other side, and some tall bays for storage of apparatus. It's not intended to be a burning building or anything like that. So nothing more than what we already do in our parking lot.
But when you say extrication, we'll be sawing up some junkers once in a while. Okay.
Yeah.
Duly noted. can you guys offer, and I'm not saying that they're agreeing to anything, but can you guys offer in your declaration of covenants, commitments, and restrictions some broad notice and subject to non-remonstrance for future activities that the township or territory or fire department might do? Because one, they're already here, and two, once the declarant leaves, often the HOA takes over and it's like, oh, that's loud, oh, that's noisy, oh, those sirens, couldn't they be a little quieter when they're rolling out? And my response as zoning lawyer, real estate lawyer, HOA lawyer is, you moved here. It was already here. So can we also codify that in your document that they're already here and they're doing fire stuff?
I think it'd defer
Yeah, I
to you on
mean,
that.
we can definitely look into that. We'd have to run it by legal counsel just to make sure it's.
Just have them give me a shout
Yeah.
or have her give her a shout to give me a shout. And then just food for thought, that little flag piece common area in that back corner, you know, that might be a great place to throw a hedge or a berm or something.
There will be probably some enhanced landscaping in that area. It's already got to be where our storm goes though too, so we got to figure that one out. But again, this is really just for the access. It's not necessarily to codify like the plan or anything like that yet.
Just
Speaking of,
giving you 25 years of experience of where the friction points are, and just heads up that that's where some friction might be.
just maybe a general question on your master plan. Where is your stormwater detention?
The stormwater detention will be on Mercy Road Church grounds.
Oh, or so you're buying some of their land as part of your development?
Not exactly. So we're getting a stormwater easement from them and we are building a pond on their grounds and within the floodplain area to basically take on all the detention for our development, a portion of this development, and then any future needs of the churches. And in exchange, they basically get a master planned permitted lot that they can now build on in the future. And they also have soccer fields potentially at the end. That's at least a plan at the moment.
Okay.
So I barely understand the stormwater detention. But the township, we have all the 13, 18, whatever it
13
is.
acres of offsite water,
acres.
which we've talked about.
Yeah, which drain through our property.
Yeah.
And so I guess the question is this potentially large enough to handle?
We have a model that's being developed at the moment. We are expecting that to be the case. However, we are not sure how much we have to pick up. I think right now we're only planning on doing detention for here the Mount Vernon Township property, our property, and Mercy Road Church. If there's anything else is required, I'm not so sure. However, we do have to extend a stormwater pipe all the way to the west to that triangular piece that's still for sale. That is, I guess, going to be within a stormwater easement, and we'll pick up anything that's along kind of the property boundaries there on the north end. And then anything we're doing on our side will obviously be draining to the pond.
I think that the talk was about, we already handle the 13 acres of offsite water. Our biggest issue when it came to developing this property was anything else. And that's what anything else was what pushed us into having the pond and the expansion and all of that, so that was going to be a half-acre pond, right? Which would take up a tremendous amount of space. So what we've talked about is there is the utilization of what is kind of this marshy space right behind here, but Mater Design and the engineers have had the conversation that can be turned into something that can be utilized, can be, maybe has some boardwalk in it, and it will still, remain as, so there will still be detention, or there will still be runoff that flows through that area just as it does now. But anything additional that we would develop what we would pipe through
Yes.
at whatever the flow rate needed to be to the new detention, right? Am I right on that?
Yeah, we pick up all the extra detention, so anything that would be required for the road, obviously, the building, I guess, for the fire department, and then
Training
anything
building.
that you guys have previous wise from sidewalk or boardwalk or whatever.
Stacy,
Where do
you-
we store that water we receive right now? Is that the pond right behind the fire station?
Yeah, it's that dry detention area that's never really completely dry, but sometimes, usually got water in it of some type.
You guys will also have like the opportunity to upgrade that if you want to be a part of a wet pond. My guess is that it being part of the detention local here would just extend it down to the regional detention, and you can have it maybe with a fountain or something a little bit more, say, pretty for park.
Will yours be wet or will it be dry?
Ours will definitely be wet.
It will
Yes.
be wet, okay.
Yeah, it's the best way to get the most volume out of the land.
There could be a bridge in between.
So who pays for the maintenance of the pond once it's done?
So we were going over that. It's going to be a half and half. The church will be probably in charge of mowing. We don't know exactly yet. And then we will be taking care of the algae, the constant running of the aeration, the bubbles pond. So that will be on the HOA side. That's the agreement so far. It's not in writing yet, but that's what we've thought of.
But the existing pond on your property would still be
Yes.
under your.
Yeah,
maintenance.
because it's our property, it would still be part of our responsibility, so.
So is the proposal or will build us this park that we're seeing on Mater Designs drawing?
But we didn't quite hear you.
Yeah, you cut out, Larry.
Oh, sorry. Is the proposal on the table here for the extension of Vitality Drive that Arbor will build this pocket park for us here behind the administrative office?
We hadn't talked about that. The road was an access point and also taking on the extra detention. That was kind of our trade-off, right? Like that we get the access and then we take care of your detention. But I think that the Arbor's understanding right now is that the township would still take care of the park. That way we don't have any, problems getting exactly what you guys want as far as the park is concerned in there at the end of the day. I mean, we can certainly have you guys throw your bid package, I guess, towards our contractors and see if they have, some reduced cost for you at the end of the day. But I don't think that there's any, design or anything like that coming from us.
So then maybe the next question is, if we don't grant you this right of way and road extension, what's your other option?
Well, that's the tough part. I don't think that there is really another option for us. And then we
can
would
do two
be going-
entrances on County Road 300.
Yeah, we would go in two entrances to the County Road 300, whether or not the Portville would like that or not, I don't know. But I think that it's best served that we work with you guys and get you guys a second access even out to a public street for the fire department. It's in everybody's best interest.
I'm gonna say this so I understand it. So your drainage will go through the back of the township property and ultimately result in a new wet retention behind the church, and you're gonna create a covenant or recorded easement or something that there'll be some sort of cost split, or that's the concept. The church or the church successor and declarant successor will have a cost split on
Yes.
maintaining the pond. And so we will need an easement that clarifies that our drainage can go in there too, right?
It's stormwater easement will be part of that. Yeah.
Okay. So I just want to be clear that you're gonna need an easement to go into your pond, not a pond, and then it's gonna go out of the pond into
This
new pond.
Yes, the creek that goes underneath.
Yes.
And that's where it'll end up in the new pond. I just want to make sure we're gonna have to make some paper connections of all this, of the give and the get,
But
so.
you don't anticipate having any stormwater from your property that's going to come through the township's property?
It will just be, I don't think so, because the property boundaries are far enough offset. I think we can get the storm to go through there. But there's gonna be a storm easement on the south end of the Mercy Road Church property just to convey our storm pipes over to the pond. So the pond is actually gonna be more on the eastern edge of the church. So like you can see the lower portion, that's kind of all grown up, and there's also an existing dry detention pond, I think, down there right now. But all that would be taken out and then replaced by a wet pond essentially.
And that's all, what's going into the new church pond. But our water's not going to the church pond, right?
Yeah, I mean, yes, at some point, at some of our property, yes, because currently we don't have enough detention on this facility, on our grounds, the way it
To add
is.
anything.
So we need to document that,
Mhm.
and we need to review, does that trigger us in any way with that? Do you remember we had the if-then stuff with STS on his stuff? Been a couple years, but he was trying to get into the
Mhm.
first project, then lost patience and built his own stuff, but he's got some if-then.
That's the 13 acres of offsite though.
We need to at least review what he's got,
Right.
because he's got some, if we do this, then I can do that or something. I just remember it
I don't
vaguely
remember
enough.
that.
Yeah, because that was new and that was over and supposedly we weren't supposed to be allowed to have anything else.
Yeah,
So,
he went ahead and built something. He lost patience when we thought the library project.
Right,
We were
Yeah.
waiting on the library. And he
so
went
we
ahead and-
granted him some level of temporary
He
easement,
has-
right?
He has something that we know enough that there is a something. We need to know exactly what the something is and
Something
find
is.
out if the something triggers anything over here. And then I just need to be clear that if we're going to send any water to the new pond, that is codified in some document, because this is all very good. Half my practice is based on when these guys are all gone and it's the HOA and all this, like, I don't wanna do this. Why are we taking their water? This pump
Yeah.
costs $10,000.
Got
Where's
it,
the township money?
got it.
Yeah, hopefully no pumps. Yeah, no, nothing needed there.
so if I understand correctly, to summarize, the pros on our side are that we would potentially get the additional drainage that we need paid for,
Yes,
that we would potentially get a trail,
yes,
and that we would potentially have the town do the road maintenance for Vitality Drive, which would reduce our cost for the portion that we've already got. On the con side, we pick up more traffic.
Mhm.
Possibly not that much, but it's already crowded in here. So it is a challenge, the thought of adding more traffic coming through, and that traffic comes right in front of the fire station. And
it could be traffic relief too, just depends on where people are gonna wanna go.
Is there anything you can do, like speed calming or whatever, because you've got a nice little runway that, I say this as a parent of a new 16-year-old driver that, it's calm back here now, but people flying in to get to the back of the neighborhood to get to town, 42 seconds faster. I could really see that, and that's not compatible with your business.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that the way it's designed right now would be probably maximized for the traffic calming. You've got a nice corner here that's gonna slow a lot of people down, and then by the time they get to a dead end Teats intersection, I mean, they have to stop. It's gonna be one of those situations where the turn is gonna require them to slow down a lot.
And I know we've had multiple conversations with Scott and Kylie and discussed, and while it's not an ideal scenario, you look at, for instance, 116th Street and Burke School Road, Fishers, right? I mean, talk about having traffic nightmares. You have a station that only can egress one way. and people don't pay attention to pavement markings. So, there are probably some solutions we can work through to see, what our options might be to keep people from blocking the apron. But the reality is, I mean, if you look at Station 432, it's across the street from Geist Montessori, right? We have to battle that car rider line and all of that on a daily basis when school's in session. So I think, we've figured out ways to hopefully make that work better.
The other bonus of this is it gives us hard payment to the training area versus we were going to have to put something in to get, it
Yes.
reduces our costs.
Yeah, because the only viable option we had from a cost perspective to get any apparatus back to what would be the training area. Obviously, this is a flip-flop version of what we had originally decided, but would have been gravel because road is incredibly expensive and we just can't afford to do something
this
that expensive.
Gives us something more upgraded
Does.
for them to get back there.
Does.
Can you check, does the town ever prioritize snow and ice treatment for essential services? Because now, I mean, your vendor, they're gonna come as you direct because you guys need.
No, we do it
We do it
ourselves.
Right, I mean, so you know your priorities, so,
Right. I think that's a conversation with the town.
yeah.
Mhm.
I would imagine, yes, and I think, that are pretty, I think in McCordsville, it's what they do also, and I think they're always making sure that they have capability for their police and fire to be able to get out when the weather conditions. We're fortunate enough that, we have a plow, so if we need to, if they're plowing the road and we need to plow the apron, we can plow the apron, so.
I mean, we're gonna talk to them about right-of-way dedication anyway, you might as well see what's up.
Agreed.
My question is, a lot of times I drive by here in the aerial fire truck or Wardsville's, the other truck from Station 432 is sitting out here on this driveway. What's gonna happen when you make that a through street then?
They're gonna have to
They
find a new
train
place
the-
to park.
They're gonna have to park here. Yeah.
They train on that aerial out there. I've seen
Yeah.
them spraying water and stuff.
And the hydrants are right there.
So
Yeah,
if you make that a thoroughfare, you're really gonna mess up training on.
the nice thing is, I think with a concrete pad and a building and hydrant access potentially back by where this training building would be, you could open up some opportunities to do more back there. So that would be a conversation about how much concrete could we put down? Could we make a place where they could be, where they could do training? So,
A little nicer than
yeah, than just,
being in the alley. And we've got to figure out, we've already received warnings about, we've got to do something with our trash containers. And so we got multiple things. This is an opportunity to address multiple things.
Yes.
I mean, even if it doesn't land exactly like this,
No, I'm just here to give you with the pros as we see it, and then, obviously you guys have some cons and some things that we can't even see, but we hope that there is more pro here than con, and at the end of the day, allow us to at least continue looking into it.
this is the concept that was discussed. It was either 4 or 5 years ago. We had a meeting of all of the businesses here in the area with the town of Fortville. And what you've laid out is very, very close to the concept that was discussed.
yeah, regional detention versus
That it would happen.
individual detention on everybody's lots.
Yeah, and this is because of the town's kind of requirements now on our property. That's just kind of the only way we can make it really work too. So we're hoping that everything is going to go well with the detention side of things. We'll keep you guys appraised, obviously, as updates come in. But again, the main reason for us being here is just to ask if we can look into this access point, get the language and things, start writing them up, get everybody on board for an access point through the property.
What are your next steps?
Right now, we're looking to meet with Joe and Adam, the town, to make sure that they're okay with the layout we have proposed here. We're going to also go through some of the detention talks and some of that stuff at a high level. We don't have the models in yet, but once we have that information, I'm sure we're going to have another meeting with them, discuss the feasibility of obviously our layout and our plans. And then hopefully by then, I guess you guys would have something a little bit more developed on your guys' end as well. So we can take basically all three properties and what we're proposing on them to the town to get that approved.
I know this will be more of a conversation with the town when the time comes, but from the unofficial concept plan and the layout, one of the things that has come up in other developments is we've now implemented a ladder truck turning radius for our apparatus, and turnaround radius for them to be able to get in and out of places becomes a challenge. So with the density and some of the, at least concept road drawings here, that may be something that comes up as part of the conversation with the town of how do we make sure we account for that. And we have some of the details on that if you need it. So not for this conversation, for a future one, but just wanted to throw that out there as something to consider as you do talk to the town of Fortville about that.
Yeah, fewer cul-de-sacs would be ideal. Right?
Just some of these turns
Yeah.
are challenging.
Fewer cul-de-sacs and dead-end roads that we can't turn around in, probably it would be a good starting point.
There is definitely a discussion we can have around getting that main piece stretch through and out to the county road improved a little bit for the truck.
Yeah. And again, not this development. We've had a couple others where there's, backloading, rear loading garages with a single one way in, one way out.
Yeah.
That just really presents a challenge if we're getting an aerial back there or even an engine. So more from a public safety perspective, just trying to make sure that we account for that when we're designing and not coming to a future presentation and not having accounted for it. So just again, wanted to bring that up.
What is your timeline?
As quickly as possible, like anything else that's in.
2 months ago.
Yeah. I think we had been waiting on basically this discussion, this board meeting, as well as the discussion with Adam and Joe before we went forward with the zoning. No, not zoning.
Yeah.
Is the
Yeah,
to
we
get the
would have to
PUD
rezone to
approved, I think.
PUD.
Yeah. Yes, but if we have favorable, recommendations from you guys, and then we have, the backing from you guys, the church, we think that we can also get favorable views from the town.
So in terms of what you need from us tonight, what do you need?
Honestly, we don't need a whole lot. We just need a head nod that you generally agree with us moving forward, and we'll continue from here.
No? Give me your
I
cons.
don't like them hooking up to our driveway.
I'm sorry, say that again.
I don't like them hooking up to our Vitality Drive.
You'd prefer that it go on the other side, on the Mercy
Yeah,
side?
we're short enough on ground back here for our training ground and what we want to do. Now you're gonna lose probably at least a good acre in driveway.
Noah, is it a pro to be able to get the trucks back there on hard road versus soft?
I think anytime we have a second ingress or egress is a good thing. And putting heavy trucks on gravel always tends to deteriorate gravel. So we'd have additional upkeep and maintenance. I think there is a challenge with that being a road that connects. And I don't want to speak for Scott and Kylie. It'd probably be more appropriate for them to comment on that. But I think having the hard deck surface is a good thing to be able to get to our training facility. But what that does for us and adds from a traffic control perspective, one slight concern I have is we already have certain issues with people and how they turn in and out of both Mercy Road and our portion of Vitality Drive. I've almost been hit once or twice just making that left turn. So I think there's something to be looked at for if we were to add additional traffic, not the stoplight, but that T intersection in front of our bay and apron becomes potentially even more of a challenge, given that Mercy Road does have quite a bit of traffic in the daytime coming in and out.
So let me make sure I understand what you're looking for. You need green space. You need additional green space.
That's not exactly what we're after here. We're just after the second access is.
That is your,
Yeah.
okay.
And then, we know that in the future, this will likely trigger a engineering study, traffic engineering study for the light itself. And when it does, there'll be better recommendations to how to help traffic at that point. But for now, all we're asking for is the potential of the second access.
Larry, what are your thoughts?
I agree that there's potential here. I've got similar concerns to what Tim just mentioned, but I think with traffic calming measures, you really got to slow people down through there. I'm envisioning the people that are coming in off of Broadway, you know, coming in the back end of the neighborhood, maybe more so as an entrance as opposed to an exit. But that geometry right there is very difficult to what Noah just said. You know, you've got two cars, one's making a left, one's making a right. And if you start adding more cars into that queue, I guess the propensity to have an accident there just keeps increasing. So I think we got to really study how that intersection point could work if we add more volume to it. But I think there's merit in continuing the road down to the neighborhood. We just got to do it in a smart way.
Do you
I think one other thing I was thinking of, I was just looking at Street View, you know, on my Google map here. There's a lot of alligatoring cracking on that road. I don't know if that's been repaved or not, but I would say we would definitely not want to have any construction traffic moving through Vitality back to Arbor as you guys are constructing.
Yeah, we would make our entrance off of the county road for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
So you would be favorable contingent on looking at how we smooth out those issues?
Yeah.
Fair to say?
Yep.
Mary Beth, what do you think?
I'm kind of in the middle. That's potentially 300 vehicles that could cut through daily if they chose to go that way to get out onto Broadway Street. That's a lot of traffic.
Agreed.
They're gonna wanna go that way because there's a stoplight.
That's,
You go down 300,
and you have to
you're
sit
waiting in
and wait.
line like I was tonight getting here.
One thing that we might on the fire department side want to do is look at run times and volume during that peak kind of rush hour, early morning, late afternoon, just to get an idea of how much we are going in and out, and then what that might mean for access. Because the last thing I would hate to see is we do have people coming in or leaving, and that stacks traffic up, and now we have an issue getting in and out, or are having to weave around traffic and potentially cause some sort of incident. So might, at least for our purposes, be able to pull some data on what we see and how often we see things, this station specifically responding during peak hours as part of a broader traffic study.
Yes, so we're very aware that you guys have a lot to think about here. I do have cards so that you guys can reach out to us with all of your concerns. And we will be working through a lot of these as the design moves forward, but obviously we're very much at the high level pie in the sky until we have some kind of answer from you guys, honestly.
Has there been much discussion with Mercy Church?
Yeah, there has been. We're open comms with them right now. They're just waiting on us to give them a model essentially of the pond and then let them know how much acreage that we're asking for the pond. And then I think that they're on board right now because they like the idea of having the drainage figured out for them when they went to go do their expansions. So
I'd rather see two drives in off of 300 than the one coming off of Vitality. If you want to finish it, fine, but make it a one like on McCord Road for Bay Creek where you can drive through it if you have to.
Like a breakaway gate.
Yeah, breakaway poles or whatever.
Yeah,
That way people can't cut through there unless they knock them down. Then if they do, they're gonna hurt their
Oh, they
car.
will.
yeah, and not that that's a bad idea. It just would defeat the purpose of us meeting with you and doing all that, doing all the extra stuff that we're proposing to do for you here. Because we need that to be a public access point to meet the town's requirements, not necessarily, as just an exit for fire, I guess, or something like that. Like, I don't know what the access would be for if it wasn't for public at that point.
Be the emergency access for the fire department if they needed it, but
The fire department, yes, yeah, but then, I mean, it would be up to you guys to bring your frontage to us and then like, we would have no incentive to build the road and the other things that we would do.
Do we have in writing what they said they're gonna do for us, so we have it?
This is just their
Yeah.
initial presentation and concept plan. I
This
think, more
is
than anything.
helping us just.
Because I think what they felt like if you guys were completely opposed to this, then they would have to pivot or change or do something different. So
The main thing we're asking is, Kim, is it okay if we go to the town with this concept
Yes.
plan with the
With
proposed
an access through the property. It
Knowing a
doesn't have
lot
to
of the
look like
details will
this.
be ironed out later,
Yeah.
but if it's a hard no, then there's no sense in going to the town and
Do we
presenting
need
this concept.
things in writing from you first before they even go before the town?
No. I mean, I think we need to get a little more information. Looking at that STS thing, pull the plats as to how, the church and the medical building, what we were, how it was configured, so you get answers on that. Little bit more fact finding, but I think for the most part, you guys need to come to some consensus and, you could even go into like, some issue pertaining to real estate, so we could probably go into an executive session and just have a thorough conversation of what, you guys get your questions asked of the department of where does this put you in relation to remainder ground for the training ground? Where does this put you in relation to, accessibility and finishing the park and gardens, which have been pending for a long time, and if that's, acceptable, then let them know, and if we can't come to a place where we're comfortable, then you need to let them know so they can do a horseshoe or something different. But we won't have a road, we won't have a trail, and I think we'd still have some degree of question as to whether or not how we participate with any excess drainage we have.
$500,000.
I can recap that. The pros we saw for this, and you guys would obviously come with a list of cons and then let us know what those are so we can help address them. But the pros were, we were going to handle your guys' drainage. It was going to allow the parks to do what they want with the grounds here. Potentially help solve some of the issues at this light. That's a future thing with the traffic study and what all is going to be involved with the signal once we have a traffic study completed. So there's three main things for you guys. The last one is just being like a friendly neighbor to help you guys, do what you guys want to do with the property ultimately at the end of the day. So.
It sounds like we need some time to go through our list and questions and get back to you.
Sounds good. Well, and thanks for hearing us out.
Thank you. We appreciate getting an option on the table because we've been stuck for some time. So we appreciate you taking the time to come to us and work through this.
Sure.
What's the price point of the home's gonna be?
It's to be determined because it all depends on the discussions with Joe and Adam at the moment. And how much
what's
they're
your
going to require
bottom?
of us.
The homes your company builds, what's the bottom price?
The bottom price for Silverthorne,
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the market. This one probably average sales price will be anywhere from 400 to 550.
Yeah.
Just in today's,
Wow.
Is there a
Today's market.
comparable neighborhood that we could look at in this area?
McCordsville, Haven Ponds,
Okay.
it's a Silverthorne neighborhood. That'd be a very
Okay,
comparable product.
okay.
Is Haven Ponds on 9,000 acre lots?
Not sure the size of that. I would guess it's pretty close to that.
I'm not familiar with that one, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I just joined here. I know about this property and this and stuff, so.
I would guess it's around the 9,000 though. They're pretty big lots.
Okay.
Do you have a drainage plan already drawn out?
Not really, that's our next path forward, right? Like, we're
I'd
getting.
like to see that.
We're getting models done. I had a concept that I drew up for the church, but we're only keeping that between us two for now because one, we don't know that it'll be that size, and then two, we want to make sure that the models will support what we're proposing here too. So,
And are you putting additional water into the ditch? Is that a plan?
no, so
It's all going into the pond?
I mean, if you're talking about volume of water, no, it's like a delay, right? You're taking the water, you're storing it for a time, and eventually it will go downstream. But it
Because that's
will
my
all be
neighborhood.
per the code. Yeah, it'll all be per code, so.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
Thank you guys.
Okay, thank you all.
Feel free to send us
Thank
some additional questions.
Thank you.
Next up, finance.
So you've got in front of you the 3 documents on the Q2 financials. So we'll start with just the actual financials themselves. Right now, if you look at the township fund, the time elapsed is about 50%. You'll look personnel services as 19%, supplies are at 36%. Services and charges are at 87%, but that's because we transfer that $617,000 of the lit to the fire department. Normally, you might do it in increments, but we just make the one-time transfer of the lit versus, doing it in as a slow. So it says that we've expended 61%, but a lot of that is driven by that $617,000. It definitely impacts a $1.3 million budget pretty heavily. The 2025 encumbrances were the $185,000 that was encumbered for the land. Obviously, that purchase has gone through, so that money has been spent and expended. Welfare administration, which this would now be Jenny's salary, which is paid from that fund, is at 45%, so just under the 50% time elapsed. Direct township assistance, medical, hospital and burials at 22%, but other direct poor relief, which is really the big bulk of it because that's your utilities and your housing, is at 61%. So I do anticipate similarly to where we were last year, that will probably be coming back for an additional appropriation for that fund. Even though we made an increase in it, it's township assistance is still keeps continuing to go up, and I think it's driven a lot by the higher rents that we're seeing too. On the fire, we're at 42% on personnel services, 48% on supplies, 39% in services and charges, 1% in capital outlays, but $1 million of that is monies that was going to be an unused appropriation. So overall, that funds at 36%. The encumbrances obviously were primarily the ladder truck, the tailored prop that we purchased, and then the HVAC money that we had encumbered. So that's all been spent. And then the last one is just the special equipment replacement fund. And that just is a matter of timing of those payments. They are January 1 and July 1 payment. So they come out as they are. Any questions on the finances from anybody?
Hey, Stacy, I got one question. You mentioned on that, the transfers, the 1 million and an unused appropriation. Can you explain what that means?
So Michael generally will look at, how much we anticipate our budget to be. And obviously we were in a favorable position in 2026 and got an $850,000 appeal. So, that's setting us up for future opportunity, because that's money that we continue to get. But we always look at it and to maintain 50% of our ensuing year's tax distributions. We often look at what we can do in an unused appropriation. So it's scheduled for $1 million right now. That was kind of contingent upon building the training building So we may end up capturing some of that in an encumbrance for 2026, you know, to build out in 2027. So, you know, there's a little bit of that we'll probably recapture somewhere, but we always like to maintain that 50% balance as well, so.
So it's not a rainy day fund per se. It's actually intended to fund $1 million project or a combination of many projects that are $1 million.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, second is the debt schedule. Obviously, this is one of those obligations that we provide to you. So just tells you what we have paid to date in 2026. For the second quarter, really the only difference was that we paid the rental revenue bonds for Station 432 in the amount of $315,500. The rest of those payments all come out in Q3. They're basically July payments. So next quarter, you'll see a lot more significant movement. But as you can see, we are really close. July of 2027 as our scheduled payoff for the engines. So we are really close to paying those off, which is kind of exciting. So be better if they ran every day and didn't have problems. All right, and the last one is the Trust Indiana statement. So this one shows you about our investments currently. So the townships fund has in $1,374,257. The income earned for the second quarter was $12,377.55. So I forget what the yield is daily now. It's in the threes. So it's not great, but it's not horrible. We're still earning some money. So still higher than the bank. So we got that going for us. And the territories now is down to $1,294,191. Obviously, $1,708,000 was the ladder truck. So that put a pretty big dent in that.
So we need a vote to accept the financials, the debt and the investment report.
Make the motion. We accept the debt and the financial report and Trust Indiana report as presented.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. We approve the finance report, the debt report, and the Trust Indiana report as presented. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, the same. Motion carries 3-0. Legal update. Must be Jeff's turn.
Yeah, my turn. I was slow on getting back to Mr. Mitchell, whose real name was Mr. Middleton. I was calling Mr. Mitchell numerous times. But I sent him a request. Generally, we're favorable of working with them on the cemetery, but had questioned and generally did not find the damage amount they were proposing to be out of line. I don't know how we would have counter information of what a cemetery is valued at. It was about 10,000 they were offering, not quite. But it said we had operation concerns of there's a statute of 100-foot non-disturbance, and you know, do you have an exemption for that? There's certain like road work exemptions and things like that. Do you have an exemption? What did you do? I kind of politely indicated we looked at your 2 studies and found out about your studies after you did the studies without you talking to the trustee or the deputy. So just kind of inquiring with him, what have you done to sort of define the location of the plots? Because to disturb the interred remains of someone in Indiana is a felony. Not that they would do that, but we're just very careful. And then would they agree in the agreement to hold harmless, release, and indemnify the township if they do have something they find, because they are going to do something there on the north end. And then asked, we don't have a lot of extra room at 600 and 750 at all, and that gets hit now, and you want to put up something there where people will walk through there, and we can't move back. So hey, are you sure? Not really stopping or objecting to the project at all or the take, because the take is up, but it's like, we know from experience that the physical assets get hit. We don't want people getting hit. So hopefully I hear back from him soon and I'll distribute that out.
And you also.
Jeff, who was that?
Maintenance. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry.
I was just asking, who are you dealing with there? It's somebody with the town of McCordsville?
Oh, USI, which is an
Oh.
independent right-of-way acquisition company. They were actually
Okay.
really, a guy named Kelly Marley at Vincent's. We work with them on the other side of the street, and then we got the information from Mr. Middleton kind of when we were in the middle of that of 140 or 431. So we needed to bring this up to the top. What your question was what?
Just also asking them about maintenance of the sidewalk that.
I can add that, but I would think that any sidewalk would be the municipality's requirement to maintain, but I can make sure that that's clear. So hopefully I hear back from him shortly. But I don't really have any answers as to why or how they did a study without any inquiry at all. I mean, we would be the keeper of the records of who's where and what remains are where, other than what's out and marked. And what's difficult with these old cemeteries is there might be something there, but not marked. And so.
And you've had that problem
We have.
in that cemetery.
Well, I suspect in all of them.
So
Is
when
this on the north end that the easement's being asked for?
Well, it's not an easement, it's a take.
It's a
So-
okay.
So it's a take and they're buying it.
It's
And
the west side.
yeah, it's the very northwest corner and it's just a slender triangle. But there's not a lot of room, period, that's available. It's just to move back and kind of work around that creek.
Yeah, okay.
But just our concern is we're pretty sure there's no one there, but we really don't know. And it might be real easy. I mean, if it's a substantial project, they'll just go and say, we'll drop $2 or $3 grand and they'll go out and they'll do the radar and make a confirmation that there's nothing there. And it's actually pretty reasonable to get them out to do it. But I think I just asked him how you're dealing with the 100-foot disturbance rule. You know, how are you can sure we're not, dealing with the road in the current right of way as it's configured. That's the way things are. Now you're doing something new and moving in toward, you don't want to get a nasty letter from DNR or the heirs of someone, why did this happen? So get a little more information from them.
Okay.
And then on the final items for the station 433 land purchase, everything's done. I got FedEx from the title company this week and scanned the contents to Stacy and Flory. We got the recorded conveyance deed back and we got the title insurance policy. So that acquisition is all complete. And we have like one hanging issue, and that was a request from the seller that they be permitted to continue to farm the ground. That is a lease, but also, and there are some standards for which we learned when we were thinking about what to do over here about the possibility of taking something to lease. However, we also have to maintain that. We can't necessarily let that go fallow. I guess we could. But I'm going to make one revision to the draft I shared with the trustee this week. And I would note that is also farming in the form of stewardship or farming in the form of maintenance. And they would be providing some degree of service for us. And I think that would resolve any issues. We found that the possibility of offering this area for lease was a massive hassle. And so I think that would address all that. I have not sent this to their council yet. And I came up with the rate based on a rate that they're getting in Fall Creek. and it's either the same family or a branch of the Jacoby family. So I can't say that they would find this rate objectionable. I think the rate's pretty favorable for farming. I would rely on you, Tim, if you could get acreage for $205 an acre.
That's fair. I mean, for-
I mean, we really just need somebody to take care of it. We need, you know, and they were generally favorable, generally reasonable to work with. So, you know, if it's at or a little below market, then, you know, it buys him some tires or buys copy paper or something. Maybe 2
Hey,
tires.
Jeff, the one question I had in the agreement was taxes. Does the tenant pay the real estate taxes?
Well, we really probably shouldn't have any. So
Okay.
we should be exempt going forward. That's one thing I would note. I was just gonna note privately. Now that we've all exhaled from all of this, it'd probably be good to just kind of pass through, you know, email or whatever to the assessor and go, hey, did you know? Because I even made changes on the sales disclosure form, even though it checks the box, it's section C, I always write in. This is a tax exempt buyer, so to just make a note to them of, hey, just next year, make sure on 1/1 of 27, we are a big old goose egg. We are going to pay a little tax this year. We're going to pay a little tax because we're in arrears, but we prorated and can't do anything about that. Floyd will remember the bad old days of when we did try to get some tax waived. And, you know, that was, we got it done and it was necessary, and it was in the dark days of needing those funds, but this is probably going to be so minuscule to not even be worth the ask. Or to beg the favors.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't think this is worth it. That was worth it because the previous trustee had not filed them and.
And we were
yeah,
broke.
And we were broke.
Sort
And
of,
so,
not exactly. But, you know, I'm not, it's not turning stuff out quite as quickly as I would like, but that's done and we're happy. The 5 acres is done and we're happy. So hopefully here in the next update, the cemetery will be done and we'll be happy. So 3 for 3. Anything else real and fabricated wood, I'll knock on. So far so good.
So you'll bring back the final to me as soon as we.
I want to make that statement about maintenance. Do you want me, well, I guess that's my ask. Are you ready for me to take that to their council because they've moved on? I mean, no one's thinking about this. Are you ready for me to present that to their lawyer?
Yes.
If he's gonna cash rent it, I mean, he's gonna maintain it though.
Yeah.
As well as he can to get the best crop of it.
Well, that's what I want. I want to note though, that there is a maintenance element. So when someone comes in and says, I'd love to do that for two, it's like, well, we made this other agreement. And so, I just want to add that sentence, but just so long as
I
you're
think
ready.
for that and for the sidewalk with McCourtsville Cemetery.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that both of them that. It's clear.
I know Shirley and Charlie are glad that we got the ground for the fire department because they're all about the community and
I think
they
this
think
was
it's
a
going to a
win.
good cause, so.
We, I don't know, who knows? Maybe, whoever's doing all this when it's time, I think it would be darn hard to get that ground for that amount if it could be gotten.
Mhm.
I mean, I think you guys have done a really good forward-looking move for your territory, for your community, for both towns, because they're going like this, and when that happens, the market rate's gonna be, you know,
Or they're putting a new
Hard-
subdivision in
hard
right
rock.
south of this right now,
yeah.
as we speak.
Well, maybe it will be us that, or the territory that develops it. It, you know, who knows what the development and the time brings. Will that bring the water and the sewer out there? Because I think the issue right now is there's no utility yet.
Correct.
I don't think it's even
That's
in,
correct.
I don't think it's been annexed yet either.
They're
Has it?
bringing the sewer from the one there on 600 north.
Well, if they're doing subdivision though, I mean, they're gonna have to bring something out.
Yeah. But they got the sewer line laying out there. They're coming from, what is it, Windhaven, or no, it's not Windhaven, it's.
Woodhaven,
Haven.
Woodhaven.
yeah.
Bringing it down the
They
road.
went in there and sliced that guy's bean field up, and they're got the pipe all laid out as of tonight.
Yeah.
They're gonna start putting it in, so, and the water line's laying in the northeast corner, so it's coming from someplace, I don't know where, but.
Well, if you want a new home, I mean, this. Your colleague, Mr. Ullman, is selling, he had 20 acres he banked for the school forever, and they finally said they don't want it, that's out. With Beezer, there's not much up there to build new, so you're gonna be building new in this area, so I think you'll see the two towns converging.
Yeah, there's built around me, so I'm surrounded.
Mhm.
Got my new fishing pond right in front of my house, so.
But we are making slow, progressive progress, so thanks, everybody.
Do you need a motion on the lease document or anything?
I think it's I think we just wanted to show it to everyone. We had already had a requirement to do it in the sales agreement, and Flory has the authority to do service agreements as a trustee, especially once so small, but she's excellent about making sure you guys are always in the know. So we wanted you in the know. And we wanted our resident agriculturist to take a quick look and see if there's anything about it that made him balk.
Sounds good.
Hearing no objections from the farmer.
Josh won't complain.
Is he doing all their farming?
Yeah.
They're not doing it anymore, are they?
Well,
Charlie's still out there. He shouldn't be.
He
but is.
supervises. He gives his input.
Yeah.
Unsolicited.
According to Josh, it's unwanted.
So the go
This
get
is
grant?
Noah's turn, fire department.
I'm gonna flip those two and give you the update on the current state first, and then we'll talk about a second proposal. So as you probably can tell, out in the parking lot here at 602, the charging infrastructure has gone up. And we have, as of actually today, finally got everything activated with Tesla so that we can now start receiving revenue to offset the cost of the electricity that we're providing. So there are two posts, 4 charging stations in the parking lot here. And that was a project that we started back last year and were awarded $10,000 for. And the township had to provide a match of 25%. We've actually had, since that went in, we haven't advertised anything. We haven't even really activated the ability for us to recoup revenue yet. And we've had 3 people use the station according to the analytics that Tesla provides. So yeah, I saw one yesterday. Jenny was very much on it and trying to ask if we needed to do anything about it. And we said, no, let it go. But, good to see that what we have put in is starting to at least be used. In that process, so we started this project and approved the original grant award back in, I think, November of last year. It took us some time to get to this point and to coordinate some of the vendors and get things to where we are today. A lot of that was because Duke, very thankfully, took on a significant amount of the cost to go from our transformer to the back, to the front of the property here. So in February, March, the state, IDEM and GoEVIN came back and said that they had some additional project funds available and wanted to see if we had a secondary site that might work to put additional charging infrastructure in. And so we met, talked with both parties, and I was initially hesitant to even propose Station 432 because 9 Star and Leo's have a partnership and have a fast charging station there. Figured that was going to be a hurdle to overcome and that the state would say we probably wouldn't approve additional funding. They came back and actually thought it was a phenomenal location for a few reasons. It's right next to Leo's. It's right next to the BMV, which once they realized a state facility was right nearby, they figured that there was a good use of some state funds to help provide people the ability to charge their vehicle while they're waiting in line at the BMV, as well as Big B Coffee and some of the other developments that are going in there. So They came back and said, if you have a new location that we'd like to look at adding some additional charging infrastructure for, we'd basically give you the exact same proposal, which is what you have in front of you, is the exact same proposal, just at a new location. So the award amount is for $10,000 from the GOEVIN State of Indiana IDEM program, and that we would have to match the 25%, not to exceed. Last time we put in 4,000, same thing for this. The only real significant difference in this project, if you go to page 2, is Nine Star. They have partnered with us to do this, but we have to put in a new transformer because there is no good way to get service to that location. And where the location is on page 3. It's the front parking lot of Station 432, that small, 4-spot public parking space. There was no good way to get separate electricity from existing service there. So there is about a $3,000 expense. Nine Star has partnered and not charged us for certain portions of that install. So they are a little bit smaller than Duke and could not take on all the cost, but they've been a good partner in helping reduce their cost to us. So $3,000 for Nine Star, about $5,000 for the electricians to do their install, and then $2,300 for the hardware. And the pedestal install, signage, and pavement stenciling is a placeholder. That's really to be determined still. I don't expect it to go that high, but overall, in order to maximize the grant award amount, we would have to put forth at least that, $3,333. So if we do come in under, we still have to match, that 3,000 that's listed there. We don't go any lower than that, right? But I think we'll come in right around where this proposal has come in at. So very similar to what you've seen already, and we're just looking to repeat it at Station 432.
So we haven't had one of these that's been operational yet, right?
Just today, it went operational on probably the 1st of July, and then today we started the ability for us to realize revenue from it or bill for the service.
Okay. I drive an electric car, and the one thing I've noticed when I try to pull up to one of these is half the times they're broken. So my concern would be maintenance on these things. I'm assuming we're responsible for maintenance per the agreement.
We are, yeah. And so we are technically, for the grant award, we're required to maintain the station for 5 years. At that point, we can then determine what we want to do. The plus and minus there, we have the ability to set whatever dollar amount we would like to set. And if you remember from the initial proposal, it's about 16 cents a kilowatt for us to provide power. That's what our cost from Duke is. Nine Star is a little bit about the same. It's 3 cents per kilowatt for Tesla to take their fee for processing payment for us and remitting tax on our behalf. So you're at 19 cents per kilowatt for basically just to provide the service. We did look at other area charging stations. They tend to set their rates at about 40 to 50 cents a kilowatt for somebody to charge at a station like this. And in looking at what we wanted to do, we obviously want to be able to have a small pool to be able to support maintaining the stations. We're looking to not make money off of this, but to at least make sure that we're covering our costs and have a cushion in there. So God forbid something ever gets hit, damaged, we have the dollars to repair it from the service being provided. So we looked at setting that at 35 cents a kilowatt at first. We don't really know how much or little the station will be used yet, but once we get this in place, have some data to leverage, we can change that dollar amount at any time. So it's easy as going into Tesla's portal and saying, hey, we want to up it to 50 cents, drop it to 30. And it's immediate. There's not we have to wait a certain period of time. It's really on us as the station owner to manage that. So
Will this only charge Teslas or will it charge anything?
So we actually went with hardware that will charge anything. The hardware that we have out there has a built-in adapter that is basically locking, so you can't run off with it, but you can charge.
Yes, good.
Yeah, so Larry, it's the Tesla Universal Wall Connector.
Yeah.
And we actually had an interesting situation at Station 432 about 2 weeks ago. There was someone who went to use the charging station at Leo's, and it wouldn't work for their Tesla. They didn't have the right adapter.
Yes.
Right, Siri, I'll tell you again. So that person didn't have the right adapter, and they actually asked the crews at the station if they could plug into the wall and charge their vehicle because they had their adapter. Well, they were trying to get from here to Indy, and unfortunately, they would probably have had to leave their vehicle overnight for it to get where they could drive it home, which they
Right.
actually asked if they could do. I ran home, grabbed my adapter for them, brought it back, and they were able to charge at the station next door. But if we had this in place, they could have used ours. So it was kind of an interesting scenario to have happened right before we were going to propose this. But I'm interested to see kind of how we could provide the solution at the other location. And if the state is willing to help us fund that, that's why I'm proposing it to you all.
Very good. I like the fact that the adapter's permanent because those things can disappear.
Yep.
Plugged in, it just didn't.
Well, there's now 5 sessions instead of 3. So somehow it recognized yours twice. So
Idiot, and I replugged it in. I'm trying to reboot. I downloaded the app. We talked this afternoon.
Yeah.
He then notified them to bring it online. And I've downloaded the app. We are not on the app as we speak as
Yes.
a location. I think it will be a matter of time where you just, where can I go get juice?
So we have the ability to say whether we show up on Tesla's map or not. I think for the benefit of the public and as part of the grant, we do have an obligation to provide some level of advertising and some signage. And if GoEVIN wants to do a partnership to do some marketing, technically the grant award documentation requires us to do that. But also, as soon as we do mark it as a live public site, it will show up in the app, like Jeff mentioned, and it will probably see some additional use. So the ask here, I wish this one would have gone a bit faster so that I would have had some more data to present to you all in the second round. The reason I wanted to present it now is because the grant award dollars must be spent and the hardware activated by end of year. So if this last one took as long as it did, we probably have a 6-month window to get this next one done and would like to move forward, assuming you all agree. So
Maybe 9-star will be faster.
I think they will. But they have a very good crew that came out and helped spec the site. Also, Captain Warwick has his side job working at 9-star. It was also very helpful in getting the right contacts involved. So just some public kudos to him as well for helping connect some dots there and getting some motion on this project.
Do we need a motion? Do you want to make it?
Sure. I move that we approve the VW project funding agreement, agreement number GOVIN, GOEVIN 1 or L2-04A.
You didn't have to, I don't know, there's one copy of the grant agreement.
Sorry.
Corey's got it over there, sorry. I only printed
Okay.
his proposal.
I second the motion.
Motion's been made and second that we approve the GoEVIN charging infrastructure funding at 6091 West 900 North for station 432. And we will be responsible for 25% up to 33,000 or 3,334.
4,000
is the round number on the
Yeah.
proposal, but the
4,000.
Yeah.
So all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, the same. 3-0.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
And the air feels wonderful in here.
It's better.
God, I'm freezing.
It's a little
It is-
chilly, I'm
it
not
is
gonna
chilly.
lie. I got my sweatshirt on, I got my sweater on still.
Oh, I
so-
wore shorts because I thought
I
it'd be
know.
hot. You're cold?
No, I said her and Kylie both. Kylie was wearing a sweatshirt in the middle of the day yesterday.
So I'll take over the couple fire department updates here. A couple of things. One, we did have a little hiccup at Station 431. We had a control panel that went out on one of the new units. Yeah. Yeah. And so I'm gonna give Noah some props here because Noah sent a very pointed email to say, get a solution, figure it out now, because they wanted to tell us it was gonna be 4 to 6 weeks.
To get a new control panel. So, my husband and I delivered some fans on Saturday, so at least they weren't completely sweltering over there. And they were out here yesterday. They replaced the control panel. They went and got, I guess, a blank control panel, had it reprogrammed. I went over there this morning it's kind of like the Arctic tundra in there. So they actually said they may have to turn the temperature up, which is kind of like, okay, so I think that control panel may have been bad from the very beginning because they were complaining about some issues in the bunk rooms, and they can't complain anymore because now it's frosty in there. So
I wouldn't like that.
so
It's
anyway,
colder than this room right now.
yes,
I was
yes.
in
Much
the-
colder. Oh, it's freezing. So that is back on track. Budget approvals, both the town of McCordsville, so the town of Fortville approved the budget for the fire department or the fire territory in June, and we went to the town of McCordsville last night and received favorable recommendation for approval of the budget. Michael presented last night, and he will have an opportunity to come, I suppose, and talk probably in September, I think, once we present the township's budget. But some actual good news. We presented a deficit budget, which you guys had already seen kind of a preview of to both entities. We actually got some really good feedback, or well, I guess really good news on the tax cap impact. It has gone down substantially to the tune of like a couple $100,000. So we presented the budget the way it existed because basically we'd already been through the town of Fortville, so we didn't want to have to go completely back through the process. But when basically Michael's expectation is we will move forward with the budget the way it is, and we will probably come for an additional appropriation early in the year to recapture those monies. So it's exciting that we're, not in as bad of a place. So, there's still a lot of caution because of where the, the local option income tax is concerned. But some good news. So.
So Stacy, was that deficit about what the surplus is gonna be?
Actually, yeah, it's actually a little bit better.
Okay,
So that was good.
good.
As far as staffing update goes, we have released the fire marshal's job description and posting on Monday, for that position. We intend to keep the applications open until the 31st of July. Hopefully we will get we've already gotten 3 applications, so that's good. Hopefully we'll have some great candidates to choose from for that position. The fire territory will be voting, I guess, retroactively to have changed, modified this job description just in the reporting structure. So the job is currently going to report to the EMS chief. The territory board was not in favor of hiring a position that would report to a fire chief that we didn't have. So we've flipped the structure, so we can go ahead and get that position filled, because Noah has been doing quadruple duty with all of the fire marshal responsibilities, and holding off until we got a new fire chief in place, and then hiring that position was gonna make that probably a 20, or who knows, first quarter 2027 hire. So we're glad to have that move forward and excited to see the candidates that we get. So if you know anybody that's qualified, send them our way.
Did Josh quit or?
Oh, you did not know?
No.
Yeah, Josh left the organization in April. So he accepted a deputy fire marshal position with the town, with the city of Noblesville. So back in his hometown, and his parents are aging, and with his 4 or 5 kids, being closer to home was better for him. So yeah, so we were sad to see him go, but he's done really great things, and we want to keep that momentum going forward. So we're excited to get somebody new on board. The fire chief's job description, we had a working session in the end of June with the territory board to review and create a new fire chief job description. Ours had not been updated since 2022. So I have a draft prepared. I'm hopefully going to release it to the territory board tomorrow for their feedback. And then it will be, hopefully the final draft or the final version will be voted on at the 27th meeting. So that's,
And you've had applications for that job too, or?
no, we haven't
No.
opened that yet. So until we get the job description finished.
So you're doing everything now?
I am filling the duties of the fire marshal at the moment, so it has been a busy time, but it's been it's allowed me to build some very good relationships with both of our towns and to see the new development that's coming. That's been a blessing to be able to kind of be involved in that and pick up where Josh had been doing a lot of that. So I'm very fortunate to have been doing kind of a bit of a new role, but I had also served as Josh's backup when he was not available or on vacation. So it was kind of just a natural, I would help fill that void until the new fire marshal comes in.
And also the Scott Hathaway and Kylie Culberson are doing an extraordinary job as interim co-chiefs.
Yes. Yes, we're, yeah.
We are
I think
very fortunate. to
The
have
nice
so much
thing is,
talent.
outside of the fact that, we probably are not fulfilling all of the things that we would love to do. They are doing an amazing job and we are, we haven't really skipped a beat. I don't think, we've done our best to try to keep things very normal from a day-to-day operations perspective. So
Have you used the drone lately?
Not, probably 2 weeks ago, we had a missing person in McCordsville. That we did go out and assist McCordsville and Lawrence and DNR with. So there's been more and more agencies that have purchased their own. So Greenfield PD now has at least 2 of their own, and the sheriff's department has deployed a few more. So we used to see more calls for service to assist law enforcement. Those have started to kind of taper off a little bit as they've built their own programs. So
Do you have that for the fireworks?
we didn't. I was actually doing more of the safety and inspection work on the ground. And didn't have the ability to fly the drone for that. We talked about it, but I don't like the idea of putting a $10,000 piece of equipment near projectiles. And so it's keep that thing grounded and save it for another day.
New business. In the old business. Announcements. I'm glad you're back, Flory.
You miss me stealing your pens.
No.
That's where my pen went. I couldn't find it.
Well, I just want to say thank you to everybody for all your support and letting me go for so long and get my life back together. So thank you. I really appreciate it.
Glad to have you back, Flory.
Larry.
looks like the next meeting is scheduled for August 19th. Unless there's I guess, Jeff, unless you think there's a recommendation for a executive session on proposal from Arbor.
I look at it for you guys, if maybe you balance what your regular business is. I don't know how much budget previewing you want to do then, and how much do you want to close the doors and get into it in a way that you can in a private session. We can look at it, and all it is a posted notice, but eventually these guys are going to move on one way or another. And so I think you three sort out what are your concerns, and then get feedback. I can help you on the legal, Noah, and anyone else can help you on, is this good, is this bad, how does this impact the department and your flexibility back there, how does this affect the gardens, and then come to your own conclusion. And also too, like he said, I think they probably got some more flexibility and more to give.
Yeah.
Not an unending amount to give.
No.
So I think, there are some things they're not thinking about yet, but they are here to try and make something work. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. All you're doing is you're in the same situation you've been in for a long time, and you've found ways and you function well to do that. But they will go do something else. They will make a horseshoe, and you'll still have the neighbor. You may not have the access point and deal with the traffic, but you'll still have them as the neighbor. That's coming. And I'm still not entirely making all the linkages of if you do it, you come into the chain of drainage, and if you don't do it, you're outside the chain of drainage. I'm like, well, if you put all that over there, you may have to take the drainage. So I don't
know.
That's still.
I don't
a
know
little-
how you only send partial
Right.
drainage.
Yeah,
That doesn't sound like that's really a thing.
And we need to revisit because whatever we worked out over there was based and predicated on a completely different concept of the library being up there and the RDC being involved and all. So we need to just kind of take a quick look. So not to go long on if you guys want a session and you want to get into it and you can kind of come up with your individual questions and
We
maybe
need more
get
information.
into Glory.
Yeah, but
Now, what if we do this? We'll put together the questions. I will send it out and make sure that we're covering all of our bases in terms of your concerns. I will also go over and meet with Mercy Church and get some understanding from them in terms of the road. If there is an option for the road to run there on the east side of our drainage and just get some clarification.
I will say, it was surprised to hear that they dismissed the connection to the green space because that actually was a town requirement.
Mhm.
That's what I thought too.
So I think they were kind of minimizing that a bit, if I'm being honest, because I know the original concept plan that they brought forward, the couple times we've met before all of this, there was a park on it.
I can imagine that they would have some amenity requirements that if they're like,
Yeah.
oh, there's a park right next door. So I don't think it was a very unfair ask to say.
no, not at all.
If you're unlocking more lots for them, they don't have to go one for one. But perhaps they help a little more with the park because certainly if I'm walking a dog or a baby stroller or whatever, I'm gonna go through the park.
Yeah, so I think that was a little bit of that was definitely, it was brought up the very first meeting that we had with them. Joe and Adam were here and they were very, they were not favorable on the number of homes. They were not favorable. There were a lot of conditions that the town had said, you've got to satisfy something different. And green space was one of those that I believe probably hit high on the list. So I think it's not out of bounds to have some further discussion. I mean, my feeling would be, we shouldn't incur any costs for drainage whatsoever, whether or not it's our drainage, whether it's the 13 acres of offsite water, that should not come through the township. I mean, if you need us to run something, it should be very, very minimal. And then there may be some, additional considerations. I mean, I know we've talked about this, but we kind of built this plan initially predicated on this whole road fund situation, right? And we knew we wanted to put our monies into our property and not give it to someone else for roads. So, I mean, this maximizes that money that we had already really kind of earmarked for this for a project. But this actually puts it on things that people can see instead of drainage and things that are under the, pavement that nobody sees or nobody cares about. So, I do think there are some nuanced advantages there. I had the exact same concerns that you all had about the road, and I told them up front, I was very, they brought me the plan, and I was very hardline, and I go, they're not gonna like this. I was like, they're not gonna like the road. It was never supposed to be a road. That road was always supposed to dead end. So I was pretty adamant and hard on the line that I took from the very beginning. Like, you're gonna need to prove to us that there's advantage to the township to let you guys get an access point.
If the parking on the streets is anything like that new neighborhood north of the schools, fire trucks, that's gonna be difficult.
That's been a topic of conversation at the McCordsville TAC meetings with a lot of the developers is the road widths and parking on the streets. And what if it is public versus private road, who can enforce it? So that's another piece of that puzzle is if it is a public roadway, then Cordsville PD, Fortville PD or the sheriff's department can enforce traffic rules. On the private sides of the streets, in the addition, that then becomes a bigger, tougher challenge. So one thing I would be curious about, I know they are in just concept phase, but what are the requirements that the town has for parks, green spaces and otherwise? Because it may change where or how we look at partnering and what we can do on our end as part of the trade-off. So I think having some conversation around, and I want to speak for you all, but having some conversation around what we think benefits are and what we could gain versus the offset of challenges with putting a road in here probably are best served for a future discussion. And then we can come back with, here's what we believe. And then maybe they can then go to the town and understand what other requirements they have.
Here's our hard nose and here's the things that we consider.
Yeah, it's my understanding that the town has kind of put it to them to say you have to have another way in and out. And so they felt like the path of least resistance in terms of a way in or out was to extend Vitality and give people an egress out to 67 at some point. And I told them, I said, that's gonna be a huge challenge. I said, you're gonna have to put up traffic and like I threw the kitchen sink at them.
When you said all that, were they in that meeting?
Mhm. So we've had a lot of conversations about it, so.
I'm sure they're testing the ground.
They
to
are.
see-
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, and then, so I think we come back with, here's the things we're willing, here's the things we're not willing, here's the questions.
And I felt like it was when they brought this forward, and obviously Flory was not here, I said, no matter what you do, this has to come in front of the township board. This is the township's property, right? That you're asking to put a road through. So I said, regardless of how much, I'm like it or don't like it, it has nothing to do with, I make no decisions on this. So, regardless, they're going to have to be the ones that you're gonna have to.
I mean, farmers market,
Wouldn't hurt.
people are parked on that
Do they
street.
own Vitality?
I know, and I think that's the nice thing is it provides accessibility from that neighborhood to the farmer's market, but there are big challenges.
Yeah.
And it will have to change.
I think we are going to have to double check because I think that Vitality Drive is owned by the building corp.
I'm gonna pull the plats.
Oh,
We've got
Yeah.
to pull,
I think that portion.
well, but
that-
the township paid for the land that built the station.
Mhm.
we'll check.
Yeah, I don't know how
And-
all those things work.
And we will, if this goes, we'll require, they'll get title work, they'll have it
Yeah.
all surveyed.
Yeah.
That's an expensive. That's a road they're building. They're not building a drive. That's a road and
Yes.
that's really expensive. With my experience of working for probably hundreds of condos and HOAs, they will not make those internal roads private. It's too expensive. They will dedicate them once done.
Yep.
And make it the town's responsibility. Otherwise, the assessments and the reserve assessments would be obscene. You can ask, can you get a zoning commitment of one side parking only? I just did fast math while they were talking. It's not even a quarter acre. It comes out to about a fifth of an acre. That's decently dense.
Yeah.
Yes, that's big time.
And that's where I'm curious on if they're being required to do a traffic study, especially with NDOT coming out onto 67, what would that show? And what would that mean for our access, ingress, egress during especially peak times?
I could just pull out my driveway and go left or right. No, I'm overnight trying to get on my driveway to get on 900. That's probably 3 minutes. Then I get to 67, no, about
Oh,
8
yeah.
minutes.
I can't get out on Merrill anymore.
That's, I'll be so glad when they put that overpass on. Maybe that'll free it up.
I see it getting better. But on the other hand, somebody's building something back there someday.
Yeah.
That's.
Well, and I
that's
felt like it
inevitable.
was worth having the conversation if there was benefit to the township in terms of development of that land. And, if
It
there
didn't
wasn't.
sound like they were gonna develop the land. They were gonna run the drainage to me. but you've talked more to them.
Well, my thought would be, there are limitations to what the township could have ever done, right? I mean, even building a trail connectivity to a trail that was in that neighborhood would never, it probably never would have been feasible because of the cost. So if there was a way to, you know, for them to figure out the drainage piece and take that off of the plate of the township, that would free more actual funds up to do things.
They haven't talked to the county. They haven't talked to Chad yet.
I have no idea. I don't know what all they have done. So, and we have, the good thing is, since we were already engaged with GM Development on this project, right? They have brought civil engineering and alongside. So whatever they're talking about, we have an expert on the civil side that can
Double check.
determine whether or not that makes sense or doesn't make sense, or can it be done or cannot not be done. So that's a good thing.
And we've got a baseline from the work that Jadco Network did and Stuffleworth did, so we're not coming at this blind.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No.
Should make a motion to adjourn.
I make the motion, we adjourn the meeting at
Second,
8:16.
Motion made and second. We adjourn the meeting at 8:16. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same.
Thanks, everybody.